I wasn't going to do this live because it's controversial, but then I thought that's pussy talk, so here I am. Hello. Alright, it's 3 things that I'm going to go over from a masculine perspective, from an individual man looking at the situation and saying what needs to be said, because no one's fucking saying it. 3 stories I'm going to share with you, therefore all making sense at the end. Hopefully, hang in there, you might learn something. So I'm out with 2 ladies the other night. Ladies. 2 because I'm such a man. But I'm also weak, so I decided to buy a pack of cigarettes. The devil's still on my shoulder a little bit. While I'm gone, some big, strong Australian men came over and there was some verbal conflict. And I observed from a distance, and I thought, they've got it under control. But then it became quite heated, and I asked one of them what was said. A name or something was called, and I mean, not to mention just the way they were treated, I didn't appreciate. But once my mind had crossed that line that something needed to be done, me being a God-fearing Christian man, this is the action that I took. So I simply walked out and I grabbed the guy with one hand and said, I'm going to fucking kill you. Now it says in the Bible, thou shalt not kill. But the beautiful thing about that, in that 16 seconds or so, I took a man who was a degenerate alcoholic, getting in women's faces, and I turned him into a God-fearing man in 16 seconds. So that was good. Big Des, what's up, man? My second story is a little unpleasant, a little heavy, a little deeper. Now, I hate to break it to some of you guys, some dark shit goes on in the world, some unpleasant shit goes on in the world, and the reason why evil prevails is because good men do nothing. They say nothing. And I'm tired of that. I research terrible and unpleasant cases, criminal and otherwise, to understand human behavior. I know, it's a good pastime. And I came across this one case where a karate instructor in the US, he abducted 2 of his clients, so to speak. I'm aware I'm on a live, you don't need to call me, but I appreciate it. He kidnapped 2 of his clients to, I imagine, do unpleasant things to them. I'll let you fill in the blanks. Child abuse is rampant in today's day and age. It's not something that's disappeared. It's not something that we've fixed. It's more rampant than ever before, because I worked in the criminal justice system, and not to mention with the DFP, I see many cases of the long-term effects, obviously working with men. What are we doing to deal with these predators? Well, I'll tell you what happened in this one case. The karate instructor was intercepted in his car with these 2 kids, and they were brought back to the airport of their hometown. The father of one of the kids got wind of this, and he showed up at the airport with a pistol. Now, I didn't tell anyone this, mind you. And while they were bringing in the predator, when he had his shot, he took out his pistol and boom, shot that motherfucker dead. Now, as I was learning the details of this case, I thought, man, that guy's life is over. I think this was the 80s. So the guy goes to court and he says to the judge, I mean, the case was national news. He says to the judge, I shot him because he kidnapped my son. He's a fucking predator. That's why I shot him. The judge gave him probation. He didn't spend any time in jail. Would you believe that? That's justice. But here's the thing. Would that justice have been served if no one had personally intervened? Definitely not in today's world. And if you ask me, if you commit those kind of crimes, that's what you deserve. Not re-education, not a taxpayer-funded holiday in a prison where they're segregated from other prisoners. They are in Australia. We call it the boneyard. They get put in their own special section so the other prisoners can't hurt them, because that's what they want to do, because that's what they deserve. Now I was thinking about this. If this was my son, if this was one of my kids, what would I have done? People are afraid to say what they would do. People are afraid to speak the truth. Now this is a hypothetical situation, mind you. Don't have a son. But if that was my son, I would have shot that motherfucker in the head. And I would feel pretty good about it, because I would save other kids from going through the same thing. Not only that, this is how far I would go. If he made it to prison, I would get myself put into the prison system. I would go out of my fucking way to get into that same prison, and I would kill that motherfucker with my bare hands. And you might think, oh damn, that's controversial, that's a bit extreme. It's a hypothetical situation. What would you do? Oh, what about your son's future? If my son experienced that for whatever reason, him having the closure in his mind, him knowing that that piece of fucking garbage is dead thanks to his dad, I think that's the best thing I could do in that terrible choice of outcomes and circumstances you could have there. I think that's the best one. Men need to have these conversations with their kids. Men need to have these conversations with each other, to be aware of predators, to teach their sons and daughters martial arts, how to spot the signs of these things. Now, yes, it's uncomfortable and it's awkward, but so is the fucking alternative. And the reason why I believe it's more rampant than ever, not just that, but most crimes, is because men are fucking too weak and too self-involved in their own petty problems, that we see this shit going on day to day, not just the child abuse, but any kind of crime. Too afraid to get involved, too afraid to do something, too afraid to get hurt. So it goes unchecked. And like I said, the only thing that is required for evil to prevail is for fucking good men to do nothing. Third and last thing I want to share, which is also related to men and how we're persecuted and put down and not respected and underappreciated in this society, the Ukraine-Russia conflict. I don't give a fuck about either side. And you shouldn't either. I have Russian friends and I have Ukrainian friends. And all I've seen happen to them is them suffer the consequences, both sides, of a political, psychopath, corrupt government, corporations in multiple countries, simply making a profit from selling weapons and laundering taxpayer money. That's the truth. But here's the thing. Who's fighting the fucking war? 50% of the population plus the females in Russia and Ukraine bounced. They found some sugar daddies. They found some alternative means of income. They got the fuck out of there. Left their men. The men can't leave. They're forced to fight. Conscript, bitch. Take this gun, go fight them. Well, this doesn't involve you, Dan. Well, why do most of you have a fucking Ukraine flag on your profile picture? Why do you have an opinion based on what you fucking see on the news? Would you pick up an AK and go fight for your country? Would you go fight the enemy? Would you shoot someone? No, you fucking wouldn't, because most of you are pussies. So shut the fuck up when you talk about, oh, Russia's bad, Ukraine's good. Neither country that intentionally inflicts harm on another country or another people is not good. The elites aren't on the front line. The leaders aren't on the front line. You think Zelensky's fucking down there? With the billions of fucking dollars he's laundered? No, he's in the local strip club. The reason why I bring this up, these two countries that have just come out of communism and God knows what else they experienced over the last 100 years, have now ruined an entire fucking generation of families and stability because the men are forced to fight in a conflict that they don't want to be a part of, they shouldn't need to be a part of. And the reason why I bring this up also is Australia's been providing weapons to Ukraine. You just signed your death warrant. If Russia overcomes Ukraine and all the other countries that are part of NATO, the most corrupt and insidious organization on the planet, we're going to have fucking war on our front door. And the reason why I bring that up, I have friends that have served, that have killed people, that have done things to protect our freedom, as they say. But as usual, it's probably corrupt governments sending out their kill squads for democracy. And I say this with every ounce of respect and love I have for these men. They suffer PTSD and all kinds of fucked up shit for the things that they did. For our country, for you. We don't know why we fought those wars. We don't know why we sent our best and strongest young men. And they had to sacrifice their life even though they didn't physically die. These are some unpleasant and heavy conversations, but if you want to be involved in one or any of these things in life, i.e. politics, religion, being a man or a woman, if you worked that out by now, you're not confused about it, it's time to start acting like one. It's time to start putting your fucking money where your mouth is and backing up what you say. And if you're not willing to do that, then shut the fuck up. Because there's already enough conflict and tension and division in our society as it is. And as aggressive and as intense as I am on this fucking video, it's because I have love for my fellow man. And I don't want anyone to be living in a country where there's fucking armed conflict. I don't want anyone to be living in a country where there's protected sex predators, protected by our own government. And I don't want anyone to have to live in a society where women aren't protected by strong men. There you go. That's me, Des. Those of you who aren't pussies, God bless you. And those of you who are, something to fucking think about. That's how a man talks. I'm not worried about getting cancelled or banned or shut down or judged. Someone needed to say that side of the argument without fear of the repercussions. There you go.